Welcome back, clickies. It's your boy Nylon Phoenix. I know it's been a little more than a week. It's a day late. It was a lot of work to get done, but it's here officially. Remastered at best is released. Down in the description, bio site. God forbid a guy plug his socials. But yeah, the drive is going to be down there. WAV and MP3. Your choice, high quality, smaller file size. If you want to re-encode it, completely up to you. I'll show you a little A and B, regional at best versus remastered at best, and then I'll get into how I made it, any difficulties I had, and how I think the project went overall. So let's get to it.
I don't know why I feed on emotion. There's a stomach inside my brain. I don't wanna be heard, I wanna be listened to. Does it bother anyone else that someone else has your name? Does it bother anyone else that someone else has your name, your name? I scream, you scream, we all scream 'cause we're terrified of what's around the corner. We stay in place 'cause we don't want to lose our lives. So let's think of something better. Down in the forest, with it, rock with it. When we gonna stop with it? Lyrics that mean nothing. We were gifted with thought. Is it time to move our feet to an introspective beat? It ain't the speakers that bump hearts. It's our hearts that make the beat. Lean with it, rock with it. When we gonna stop with it? Lyrics that mean nothing. We were gifted with thought. Is it time to move our feet to an introspective beat? It ain't the speakers that bump hearts. It's our hearts that make the beat. Lean with it, rock with it. When we gonna stop with it? Lyrics that mean nothing. We were gifted with thought. Is it time to move our feet to an introspective beat? It ain't the speakers that bump hearts. It's our hearts that make the beat. I ponder of something terrifying, 'cause this time there's no sound to hide behind. I find over the course of our human existence, one thing consists of consistence, and it's that we're all battling fear. Oh dear, I don't know if we know why we're here. Oh my, too deep, please stop thinking. I liked it better when my car had sound. There are things we can do, but from the things that work there are only two, and from the two that we choose to do, peace will win and fear will lose. There's faith and there's sleep. We need to pick one, please, because faith is to be awake, and to be awake is for us to think, and for us to think is to be alive, and I will try with every right.
Alright, so I've decided to do this with car radio. I'm going to show you a little before and after, as well as what I did, my little process. As you can see, these are actually all free plugins here. I do have some paid plugins, but I didn't end up using any of them. I kind of decided on what to use specifically for the tracks. I used a very similar plugins for pretty much every track. I wanted to keep it like sonically consistent. So yeah, you're gonna see very similar signal chain. Obviously I've tweaked the parameters, I'm not keeping it the same for each one. And you may notice I actually have one stock plugin I'm using, and it's the Ableton Saturator. Believe it or not, I actually think the Ableton Saturator sounds pretty amazing. I've used a couple of different ones before, obviously, but Ableton Saturator, especially for mastering, is pretty clear and it sounds pretty great. So anyway, we're going to look at car radio here to a spot with Tyler's vocals, because I think that was one of the more important things to bring forward, which you'll see with my mid EQ.
Great, my lungs will fill and then deflate. They fill with fire, exhale desire. I know it's dire, my time today. I have these thoughts, so often I ought to replace that slot with what I once bought, cause somebody stole my car radio and now I just sit in silence.
And if we go into this here, we have TDR Nova. I've used this to low shelf just to get rid of some of these like really fluffy low end frequencies. You're not really hearing these like sub like 30 hertz frequencies anyway, so I decided to get rid of them, especially because some of them are quite blown out in the album. We have our side EQ. So for regional at best, this looks a little strange because usually you'd want some air on the sides, you know, you bring out some like real crispness in your cymbals. The problem that I've found with regional at best on every single one of these tracks, so I've used a very similar side EQ, especially in this high end, a little more or less depending on the track if it sounds a little too dead in the high end, a little too boxy. I had to cut these frequencies because there's an insane cymbal resonance. I think the worst offender of this is Guns for Hands. There's some insane resonance in that high end that really like pierces your ears. It's super sibilant, sounds kind of awful, but these frequencies had to go straight away, especially on the sides. So I'm just going to play the sides here now. This is what the sides sound like. I actually brought out some of the mid frequencies for this, which is kind of a little unusual for the sides. You want it to be a little more in the center focus, but I found car radio really likes this warmth, right? And then if we swap to the mid here, I'll show you my mid EQ. We have, this is what I've done. It's very different in terms of frequencies for each of the tracks, bringing out what part of the vocals I want, because this is still affecting, like the snare is a huge one. Snare in some of these songs is a little less ideal than I would have wanted, just because I've had to bring out the vocals using a mid EQ. Another thing I will mention, especially for these loud sections, as you can see, the original waveform, this is before the effects in Ableton, right? So the original waveform is quite clean, and that's because I actually declipped this in Audacity before. It's not perfect, it just takes off some of the peaks. I made sure that there was no degradation to the audio, and yeah, it sounds a lot less distorted before mastering, and afterwards I've kind of tried to keep these tracks not too harshly like limited. So you're seeing like values of like 0.3, 0.5, 0.9. It's very slightly getting taken off the top. In terms of loudness, a lot of these tracks I've aimed for about 9 LUFS integrated loudness. That being said, the peaks of these songs, the peak loudness is usually like around 7 to 6, so it does get quite loud. These songs originally are also hitting those peaks. I've tried to do it without crushing and distorting too much. I think it's reached a reasonable pop, synth pop loudness level that doesn't sound absolutely crushed. So I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And again, some of these songs aren't perfect. Kitchen Sink is a great example. I think it's definitely better than the original, but I've still had some issues with bringing out the voice. It messes with some of the other elements of the song. Yeah, I think it sounds better overall. It's not perfect. Some of the tracks are better than others. I'm really happy with some of the tracks. Like Slow Town sounds great. It sounds a little punchier. Kick is pushing through. Car Radio is another great one. I think Holding On To You sounds pretty good. And they all maintain their identity. It doesn't feel like Vessel 2. That's what it is. That's what I was aiming for. But anyway, if you've enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe. Please leave a like down below. With Breach coming out soon, who knows what my next Pilots project could be. Stay tuned for my other music project. I think if you like 21 Pilots, you'll love my music. Very fun ukulele kind of rock tracks. If you're in Melbourne, keep an eye out for some gigs. And I will see you next time. Nylon Phoenix out.